Welcome to It's Not a Terrible Show.
It's not a terrible show. It's not a terrible show.
It's
No, it's
bad but
not.
not terrible. I'm Brian Carter, and that's Garrison Wynn.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
I have a question for you, Brian, to start off the show with. So
Yeah.
I think something just is coming to me. It's like this is the show evolves, as we evolve emotionally. And that is a lot of people don't laugh. I haven't even said anything yet. So
I don't
just
think we've evolved emotionally at all.
Stop judging. You're judging. The show,
I am.
you can't judge before the topic happens. So just relax.
There's plenty to judge already.
Yeah, just stop. You just stop. I'll judge you too. I will judge you too. I will.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and judge you. Yeah.
All right, go
don't
ahead.
get me started. All right. So here's the thing. So the thing is that a lot of people, how does your business run? How are you selling and marketing in the COVID-19 world right now? How's that
Yeah,
happen?
that's a great question.
Yeah. How are people doing it? So I think that's the topic.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I mean, I was talking about this morning with
Yeah.
a peer and a colleague and a friend and partner and colleague and friend.
Is that the same person? That's the
Yeah,
same person?
yeah, that's 7 people. She has multiple personality disorder, but we were talking
Your
about
people are inbred. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, outbred is weird too. But anyway,
Yeah.
I went to the doctor because I had outbred.
Yeah, it's bad.
He's like, what is that? It's outbred. Anyway,
That's right.
yeah. So people are still selling and marketing, and
Yeah.
we were talking about how like a week ago it seemed weird because a lot of people were in the U.S. are still adjusting to what's going on right now,
Right.
and they're like, oh my gosh, this virus and everything. But the more we get used to it, and the more we get used to being home, the more it just seems like, oh, that's what salespeople do. They're sending me emails, they're sending LinkedIn.
Right.
It's no more annoying than it normally is.
Right.
And unfortunately, in order to get a certain number of sales, a small percentage of people that buy, you annoy a lot of other people. But
Sure.
that's
So what you're saying that your sales process now is annoying. That's what's happening.
well, no, because
Right.
actually, I try to make my sales process less annoying than most salespeople.
I believe that. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm finding that people are home. And the other day, I called a company thinking I'm going to get the company voicemail, and I get kind of a tired CEO on the phone. I got the guy on the CEO of the company, medium-sized company, a big company, but I got him on the phone, and
Wow.
he was, talkative and all that kind of stuff, and it was
Yeah.
I was really surprised. He wasn't that positive. He seemed a little
Right.
negative, but
It's
he
probably
was
a
at
good
home.
time for telemarketing because like you send an email, people can ignore it, but
Right.
a phone call is like that kind of social contact that a lot of us are
Right.
craving right now.
Yeah, I was surprised, and also, we're doing some business, and people are doing business. But
Yeah.
I think that there is a wait and see, and I think the good news now is that we're starting to see some reduced numbers in Spain, reduced numbers in China. We're next for that reduced as we come out of this.
Yeah.
This is something that happens all the time. 20 times in 500 years, if you want to call it all the time. It happens. And we're peaking, and the good news about peaking is it means that we're going to go over the hill and come back down. So that's a good thing. But I think that a lot of people
what's not
are
clear
struggling.
is like we're peaking, which means we're hitting a higher
Right.
number than we've ever hit before. What's not clear is how much higher that peak goes.
Right.
So I think it's a nice way to make it sound positive that we're having more deaths than we did
Right.
before.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of people's biggest concern is that the economy is it there? People are saving their money because
Right.
they don't know what to do, what's going to
Exactly
happen.
right.
But we also all know that we got to spend money or we're all in trouble.
That's exactly
So,
right. Yeah, that's the one thing that people think, okay, so I can hang on to my money because, I'm thinking it's Armageddon or whatever your reason for hanging on to money is.
Yeah.
Or you can spend money and move it in the future. I think the most important thing is that there actually is a future.
Yeah.
And that these things last, 4 months to a year is typical. At least
Yeah.
the last 500 years tells us that. We are peaking, and it means we're coming down the mountain. So that's,
And I don't think people are not buying anything. Like I bought some.
Oh, yeah.
I bought some art markers because I'm like, what am I
Right.
doing with myself in my spare time during this social distance? Bought some art markers. Also, last night I bought some goggles because I read this thing that doctors were recommending that swim goggles are
Right.
the best airtight. Not that I'm around anybody with COVID, but I'm paranoid.
Right.
So I bought my wife and I some swim goggles last night.
Okay, so what you're saying is you and your wife goggled or drawing at home. That's what's happening.
She's
in your
not.
house.
She is not drawing, but I might be goggle drawing. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
drawing
Well,
goggles.
One thing's for sure, the show's not peaking. Anyway, so
now who's judging now? Who's judging now?
I'm judging.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I'm the judge.
Yeah.
But I think that people are waiting. People are hanging on to their cash and trying to make decisions on what to do. But I don't think we can save our way out of this economy. I think we have to spend money to make money and to move things forward. But I do understand that in this moment, this week, this day, I wouldn't expect for your sales to be, unless you're selling, surgical masks, designer surgical masks. Like, by the way, Chanel is making surgical masks, and I understand they're beautiful. Unless you're, maybe, connected to that directly, it might not be your best month. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, I know we're helping, there's a big restaurant chain that we're working with to switch over from dining to carry out.
Right.
And although they're certainly doing less business because so much of what they did was dependent on dining.
Sure.
But they're not doing nothing. And in fact, we're getting some really good performance. Like believe it or not, we're talking about $1.50 per carry out order. Like that's how much the ads cost us, right? Which there's a ton of profit in that.
Yeah, that's great. And I think there are things, and that's a good example of things that, really are working. For us, we're booking some virtual programs. Oddly enough, some consulting stuff has come up in, kind of the messaging, create your, change, alter your kind of copy, the message you have. That kind of consulting has popped up more for us. We might have been too busy to look at, and down the road is a good thing. There's some things coming up now that we'll add to what we already do that'll help. So there's some positives that are coming at us for sure.
There's some good things to try. A company that I work with is they're going from programming an internal tool to creating a SaaS self-serve tool.
It's great.
It's forcing innovation. This thing is forcing us to try new stuff.
And that's a good point. Pandemics and war and things like that often always just speed up innovation, and they speed it up sometimes so quickly. I think there was a weird thing like between prop planes and jet engines during World War II. There was like 30 months. They've been working on it for 12 years. And all of a sudden, in a 30-month period, it evolved very, very quickly.
You get a lot more pressure. There's somebody going like, well, okay, what can we get this? Can we get this out next week? Like, what do we got to do? And then forcing people to do more stuff, and the pressure that comes, the economic pressure pressures these managers to pressure everybody else.
Well, there was a study done back in, I think, the mid-1990s about how successful you could be with unlimited resources as opposed to how successful you could be with constrained resources and a finite amount of time. And that research showed that the most innovative ideas came under strain and stress and limited resources, not when you had finite time and not when you had plenty of time and plenty of resources.
I believe that. That's why people procrastinate, and that's why they say that the amount of work expands to fill the available time. Those studies where they've done we're not going to talk about 4-hour work week, but there's studies when they've done a 4-day work week, and they still get as much or more done. It's just kind of nuts.
That is an interesting point that we actually fill the space. I find that with donuts. Well, that happens to me.
Yeah.
If I have a lot of time, I eat stuff I would never eat. Give me enough time, I'll eat anything. Ridiculous.
Right. Yep. Probably carbs, but yeah.
Yeah, it is, because I have what I call the dog broken to the dog food bag syndrome, where I have this giant bag of corn chips that I would never, ever eat ever.
Yeah.
But you give me a day off, a limited agenda, and you get me face to face with this big bag of corn chips. I mean, they're going down. I ate the whole bag.
I know. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Then it turns into an Alka-Seltzer commercial. So
I used to love that commercial. I used to love all the commercials that they don't have anymore. So, but I think the final thing to talk about is that the elephant in the room is that. I can't say white elephant because that could be racist. But this elephant that is absolutely, anyway, this animal that we will not even call an elephant because that's categorization of an animal as well. I think is that handling employees, and a lot of companies are putting people on furlough. A lot of companies are doing a lot of interesting things. And as you and I both agree, it's cost you a lot more money to hire new people and retrain them than it does to hang on to people. However, that's really for a mid-sized company, a company that's got at least some mid-range pockets, if not deeper pockets, to be able to do that. I think it's a very big deal.
It is. I mean, fortunately, hopefully this paycheck protection thing will help a lot of companies, be able to keep their workers. From what I understand, it's like you got to go back to February 15th. Like, how many people did you pay then? What were you paying them then? That's what you got to stay at if you want this paycheck protection. So I'm hoping that the other philosophy underneath that is what you're saying, which is like, let's not let these people go. Let's not force them to become long haul truckers or whatever, so that the next time we want to hire them, they're there, because we do want to restart the economy. We do want things to go back as close to the way they were as possible. So, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of other ideas, like, let's totally change the economy or this or that, which is that's just such a bigger undertaking. We tend to kind of move like step by step, as a society.
I agree. And of course, I'll say what is not being said, and that is, it was only a short time ago, as in 30 days ago, where the biggest problem in corporate America was we could not find enough employees. Most companies said that was their biggest issue. We may have fixed that.
Plenty of them out there.
Fixed itself.
As soon as we can go back out safely and not overwhelm the hospitals, there's a lot of people, who've been forced to think. It's an interesting time, because some people haven't been off very long, so they're like, oh, I'm playing Halo, or I'm playing Animal Crossing, and they're like, I guess you're really enjoying the time off. Those people aren't all necessarily thinking they've got to get another job, but give people another month, and I think their attitude's going to change.
It's true. And like the CEO I talked to later in the afternoon, who just happened to pick up the phone, he just said he'd never spent this much time with his wife. I think that was what he said.
And domestic abuse has gone up 25%. Did you read that? Really? 25%.
That I didn't see.
Yeah, and there's been a couple cases of murder suicide. It's a
right.
So hopefully for most of us, maybe there's just a little more stress. It's not like my wife and I have had an argument. We had one, but no big deal. We get over it. We've been married for 700 years. So
that's a long time. I believe you were married during another plague, if 700 years ago.
Yes, I met her during the bubonic plague. She was a nurse. And I was a serf.
Right. Yeah, that was in 1338, I believe. You guys got married.
I was a serf.
I was a serf. I've been in business a long time. I started out as a serf. That is a long time. That's a really long time.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I think we're going to be okay. I think we just have to kind of move through this. But I like the good news I heard last night and today about it looks like we are at least peaking. And looks like Spain and Italy and China are both saying that they are, on the downslide as far as all that's concerned. That's good. Downslide being good.
That's right. So we'll see what happens. A lot of reasons to be positive, and under any circumstance, you have to adapt and find a solution. I mean, or else what? There's no alternative.
There you go.
So,
well, I think this was not a terrible show.
I think it was not terrible. It was okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was an okay show.
Well, that's what I like about this show. The bar is so low. As long as we're not a terrible show, we are connected to the name of the show.
I don't know why I did that. It's like I'm Richard Nixon.
I just don't know. I don't know what that means. I
don't either. Elect me. Elect me.
The best way not to get elected is to go, hey,
I'm running for town council.
Right. By the way, you know what this means if you're in Australia, right?
I don't think we should go into that.
We should go, so be careful. Yeah. So anyway, all right, not a terrible show. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Garrison.